Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Cadence News. I am your host, Mr. Conrad. Today on Cadence News, we're going to be discussing the Blazy effect, Chanel growth posted through their earnings report to year 2025. Also on Cadence News, we'll be talking about Benicio Antonio, the Bad Bunny and Zara collaboration. In slightly less important news, we'll be discussing the continued uproar of the Audemars Piguet and Swatch collaboration. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, yeah, sorry about that. I was just doing something funny. Anyways, I even put on a tie, which actually there is a reason why I put this on, which I will discuss with the not so important news at the end. So, the Blazy effect. Well, are we surprised? No. Well, I'm not. I expected this. It's Matthew Blazy. If he was able to refocus my attention on Chanel after years of disdain, then think about everyone else who is far easier to coerce, who's now watching Chanel. And yeah, single digit growth was posted, $19.3 billion, up from last year. They say that the growth came largely from the Americas, the region there. What can we say? This guy knows what he's doing. He really does. I think it's very clear. The numbers show it. Can we say it's directly proportional to the fact that Matthew Blazy joined? I think yes. You can argue that, you know what, people just wanted to rush in and buy the last remaining vestige of Virginie Viard's Chanel before Matthew Blazy came in and ruined it. I don't think that's the case. I think a lot of eyeballs were on Chanel because of Matthew Blazy, because people know what that man can do. And he does what he does, and clearly what he does brings results. So, very good for Chanel. Props to you, as usual, Matthew Blazy. My respect goes to you, my man. He obviously knows what he's doing. Now, Benito Antonio, aka Bad Bunny. He now has a 150-piece collection with Zara. Again, I knew this was coming. You don't put that man on the Super Bowl, arguably the most visible moment for television that exists today. Anything that you put on that screen during the Super Bowl, it's as good as gold. So dressing him up, clearly they had a mission, they had a plan. I think this collection launched today or maybe yesterday, and they had activations and events in Puerto Rico where Bad Bunny's from. I'm expecting huge success from this, especially from Latin America, but also because he's one of the biggest stars in the world. Everyone is going to go and buy it, and 150 pieces. that's that's not a collection. That's not a collaboration. That's a full-fledged rollout. I looked at the pieces, not my style. I wouldn't wear 98% of it, even if you paid me. I was trying to decide, would I wear it if you paid me? Now, even if you paid me, I wouldn't wear it. Just too bright for my own good. Very young. But anyway, that's the target market, not me. So again, I have the understanding and maturity to understand, or to accept rather, that something isn't made for me, but to also see what its benefits are. So yeah, that's going to do very well. I'm prepared for that. And then in the not so important news, there is a lot of talk about this continued Audemars Piguet and Swatch collaboration. So there is a guy I follow on Instagram. His handle is Oren Meets World. I think his name is Oren John. Anyway, he talks beautifully, and he discusses kind of the same things I discuss with you guys. He's really good at it. His flow, his cadence, the way he goes through topics and explains them and breaks them down, flawless. So he was commenting on luxury brands humiliating themselves And one of the points that he used was the Audemars Piguet and Swatch collaboration. He also mentioned the Stadguy and Bentley collab, and he feels like it is, he used the word disgusting. He feels like it's going to destroy the brand. I'm not sure. I don't necessarily agree with that. And his point of view on everyone saying that Audemars Piguet and Swatch did this collaboration because Audemars Piguet had lost so many of their lawsuits trying to copyright that octagonal or hexagonal shape that they're known for. The court said, no, you're not known for that. People buy your watch because it's AP, because you have a brand, a specific watch that you sell, not because they like that thing, um, which makes sense. However, Mr. Orange John, Orange Meets World, he calls it, which I found so clever because it took me 2 seconds to break it down. He called it MBA slop. And I was like, what's MBA slop? I'm trying to pronounce it as one word. Ah, Masters in Business Administration. People who are claiming to understand business practices and the reasons why company do stuff when you're not actually inside the company. Now, look, at the beginning of all of this, I told you that some of what I say will be conjecture, some of what I say will be fact, some of it will just be ideas and thoughts that I'm proposing to you. Now, did they lose these court battles? Yes. Do I think that's why this collaboration happened? Honestly, no. I think they just wanted some publicity. I'm going to add for you a quote by Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde said, "There is only one thing in the world worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about." So, whatever anyone wants to say about this collaboration, however far down you want to go, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we are talking about it. It's all over Instagram. I'm sure it's all over Threads and TikTok and everywhere else. Do you know how many countries had to cancel the launch of this collection because there were people camping outside the doors for days, fighting, rushing, all these people, the resellers trying to get their hands on a watch to sell it back immediately. Yes, they were trying to get their hands on a watch not to keep it and wear them, but to resell it. What did you expect them to do? It's not a real AP, it's a swatch. They want to make some money. Now, the reason why my tie is here is because I want to use this as an illustration to explain this point that I'm about to make. All the people that are still up in arms about this collaboration, propounding theories and everything, I think you're missing the point. The times that we live in is not the same as it used to be. People don't care. The people who are spending the money on these watches now in large amounts, the new buyers, they are new to this world. They're buying the watch not because of Les Brasseurs. They're buying the watch because when someone sees you with an AP, they go, oh, wow, that guy has an AP. When the ladies see you with an AP, they go, oh, wow, that guy has an AP. He must got money. That's why they're buying the watch. How many people out there are actually buying this watch because they understand the complications or the construction of the watch? It's like Richard Mille. How many people who own RMs actually understand what Richard Mille intended by making those watches? Do you know that most of those watches were made in collaboration with athletes or for a specific sport? I ain't never seen anyone wear that watch playing a sport apart from the people that the watch was made for. So, all of these things that everyone is saying, oh my God, the value has gone down. They've devalued Audemars Piguet. The super, super wealthy people, the people who have 10, 15, 20 APs, who've been buying Audemars Piguet since the turn of the century, they don't care anymore. You're just arriving at this juncture. They've been here for decades. They're not bothered by Swatch and AP collaboration. They've got APs that you can't even fathom. They've got watches that you can't even comprehend. They've been in this for years. And I've been trying to say this, that the people who are spending the money now, they don't care about craftsmanship and heritage and all of that stuff. I love it. I love that stuff. But that's the era I was born in. I'm almost halfway through 40. Of course, I care about that. That's when I was born in. Everyone else is just buying it for how it makes you look in a social setting, how people perceive you, perceived importance, perceived worth, indicators of wealth. That's why they're buying AP. So Swatch and Audemars Piguet collaboration is still genius because my homie Oscar Wilde said there is only one thing that is worse than not than being talked about, and it's when no one's talking about you. But hey, guess what? Everyone is now talking about them. So what does that sound? Whoop, they got it. Done. Job done. Tick. Money in the bank. Take it straight to the bank. Straight to a Swiss bank, probably. So this tie is from a brand that a lot of people will know as Xenia. On the tag on this tie, it says Ermenegildo Xenia. It was my dear father's, God rest his soul. He probably bought this, I want to say, or maybe my mum bought it, in the late 90s, early 2000s. I'm talking probably 25 to 30 years ago. This tie is potentially older than some of the people who might see this video. Older than. Still here. Got it. Thanks to my brother who kept some of this stuff, I now have this tie. Now, the reason why I'm wearing this is because I want to use this as an illustration. So, this tie is labeled, the label on this tie is Ermenegildo Xenia. Xenia doesn't even go by this name anymore. Now, my question is, how many people who have shopped at Xenia in the last 5 years realize that Xenia used to be Ermenegildo Xenia? Do you even know who that person is? Did you know that this was what they stood for? If you know who Ermenegildo Xenia is. Probably not, because everyone just knows it by Xenia now. They have branded themselves. The reason why they did it was to simplify the brand to help with their IPO. I think they did this in 2021, maybe 2020. No, 2021, because I would have remembered if it was COVID times. But my point is, I am wearing the last vestige, at least from my perspective, of what Ermenegildo Xenia used to be. It's no longer this anymore. Am I crying about what Xenia is now? No, I don't care. Am I crying that that 60% of the people I see wearing Xenia are probably who make their money through nefarious activities? No, because Xenia wanted to be out there. They wanted to grow. They had an IPO, for goodness sake. Is there anything about an IPO that makes you think, they want to keep their brand niche and controlled and hidden? Another question. The collaboration with Chanel and Charvet. I wonder how many people before that collaboration with Chanel had ever heard of the brand Charvet. By the way, they are a very, 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 very old shirt making brand. But now everyone is like, oh, Charvet. Well, maybe not everyone, but Charvet, Chanel. Oh, I want one of those. Okay. But did you know about it before? No. But look, I'm not here to complain about people hopping on bandwagons because I understand that these brands are doing this on purpose. It's part of the business. They want to grow. Do you think the investors and the shareholders want to have no money? Do you think that's why they invested in a company was, you know what, I'm going to invest in this company because I want to lose it all? No, they invested in these companies that they want to grow. They want returns on investment. That's why companies do this. They have to put themselves out there. Coincidentally, or maybe not, today a new collaboration was launched with AP, with Verbal and Yoon Ambush. Who knows who Ambush is? The people who know who Ambush is, and they respect them. Tokyo, Japanese couple, they make cool artifacts and clothes and things. It's very streetwear enthused or streetwear vibed, but it's cool. I wouldn't wear it, but I get it. And now they have a collaboration with AP. And if you look at the comments on that page, everyone's like, oh my God, yes, now a collaboration that I love. But to some people, they're going to be like, who's Ambush? But the point is this. All of these things are done with one thing in mind. There is a target market for everyone. There is a group that they're trying to reach. It's not a coincidence that Zara is collaborating with Benito. They've called the collection Benito Antonio. That's his name. That's his govy. They used his govy for the collection. For you to understand that we're collaborating with the man and what he represents, what he comes from. Who do you think is going to buy into this? The people who buy into good old Benito. Of course, they're going to love this. Is it for me? No. I don't speak Spanish. I like his album. I don't understand any of it. Sonically, it's great. Would I go and buy the stuff? No, but I'm not the target market. The person who is, they're going to lap it up. So let's stop crying about Audemars Piguet and Swatch. Whether or not it was for like business reasons because they were trying to win future lawsuits, which I highly doubt, by the way. I don't think that will solve that problem. I think that they were just trying to get some publicity, because anyone who owns an AP watch that is able to be swayed because AP collaborated with Swatch, you have such a limited understanding of not only the world we currently live in, but the world that that watch was born in. Because those people who were buying this watch in a big way, I'm talking about Audemars Piguet, they are long gone. Do you understand that the super wealthy, they are on things right now that the rest of society haven't even begun to comprehend? Do you know how Mark Zuckerberg goes on holiday? Do you know that he gets a yachting expedition boat, or whatever they call it, which is worth maybe 200 and something $1 million, that is being followed by another expedition boat to Iceland to go helicopter skiing? That guy takes boats worth probably $500 million to far parts of Norway or Iceland or Finland, wherever it is that he went, so that he can get helicoptered off from one of his yachts, I might add, so he can ski down or snowboard down. That's how he's having fun. When Jeff Bezos and his wife got married, they rented out Venice. That's what they're on. They don't care about Swatch and AP. They haven't cared about Swatch and AP for time. Next time you have a couple of minutes, go to the rich list. Let's just go top 50 people, number 1 to 50. Try and Google them. Look for images of them. When you find images of these gentlemen, see if you can find images where they're wearing watches. Tell me how many of them you see are wearing watches that you can recognize. That's my answer. That's all it is. I never forget, I can't remember which team it is. It might be Chicago Bulls or a big team anyway, because the guy's worth like 7 or 8 billion. And they were showing watches that were worn by people attending the game. Obviously, the owner of the team is there, as well as everyone. LeBron James, all these people, Kevin Hart, I'm seeing Pateks, Rolexes, Audemars Piguets, Cartiers, all sorts of things. Do you know what the owner of the team that everyone is going to go and watch was wearing? A Timex watch. Timex. $600, if that. That's what he was wearing. He owns the team that they're going to go and watch. So, again, don't worry about the people who love AP and who are buying AP. If you're upset about it, you're just visiting. You just arrived. Take a seat. Calm down. There are people who've been here for decades. I'm not saying I'm one of them, but the first time I heard about this brand, I was probably, I don't even know, but I was extremely young. So my point is, the people who really love this brand will continue to love this brand. This is not going to affect it. And if you are bothered by it, I've seen videos of people throwing their watches in the bin. Yeah, sure. Keep doing that. And then when the video is cut, go and pick it back out. And if you're complaining about it, then like I said, you just arrived. You just arrived. So, as usual, I don't make the rules. I only enforce them. Thank you so much for tuning in to Cadence News. As usual, my name is Mr. Conrad. Peace and love.